What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys doing fantastic. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys hanging out, enjoyed hanging out with Stephen King and Johnny Gwarks on Friday. I appreciate those guys filling in while I was away. You guys are ready for this week. Whew, man. We got some a little bit more data coming in this week than obviously last week on a light week. Feel like Friday was kind of fun. I wasn't in front of the market too much, but again, not too crazy. We did have a little bit of kind of sell off ish on Friday, but that was the result of non-farm payrolls. We also had the live kitty stream, which kind of turned into a little bit of a dud. So I don't know. But we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. We got Andy, Bill, Brian, Cindy, Corey. Good morning, David, Frank, Jay, Jeff. Good morning, JT, Lauren. Luke got Lucian in the house. Mike is good morning. We got Nate, Shane, Tim. Good morning. I always got the two Tims like right after each other. So Tim. Tim. Oh, my people out in YouTube land. I appreciate you joining us each and every day. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. If anybody has tickers they want to take a look at, just like Albert. Yep, just throw that right into the chat pane. We'll definitely take a look at some of those. So today, at least, we have the NVDA Split, which is official. So know if you have some NVIDIA stock, your stock did not crash. It's just okay. It's okay. Take a deep breath. It's going to be all right. But we do get the fallout from the NVIDIA Split. And that will, obviously, as NVIDIA's kind of affected pretty much the entire market, mostly to the positive side. We'll see. This is going to be a decent opportunity again for anybody that's in NVIDIA to take some profits since the last earnings, since the split was announced. We're up about 20% from that point, and we've already been running it up before the earnings report. So there's a little bit of room we could give back long term. I think NVIDIA is still NVIDIA. I don't think we have to worry too much about it. But what if we get a pullback today? The other thing is we do have WWDC conference from Apple. And how are they announcing anything? Like I said, my brother-in-law has been talking about it. He's not a stock guy, he's a tech guy. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I think they're gonna there's rumors they're really getting to the data center space for AI, and he's like, man, I think I'm gonna buy ahead. I was like, okay, good on you. I hope it works. But yeah, so we'll see what that plays into. And again, if Apple steps more into NVIDIA space, you pile on the split, people get the chance to take profits, and then what does the rest of the market do from there? So we'll see. But for right now, we do have the SPY gapping down a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Still inside on Friday's candle, which is at least something. We still are holding that last big volume, so this is a good retest spot. Only problem is we did retest it once already. We kind of came back on that Thursday, retested it, so I don't really want to see Friday's low get taken out. That being said, I do have resistance on SPY somewhere around 533.57, so we are going to have to try to take that one out to the northbound side. Otherwise, the real support probably down to like 530.92 if we want to come a little bit lower. If we start breaking that, we got 529.78. So we do have a little bit more room to the downside than to the bullish side unless we're talking all-time highs where we don't have any levels to kind of go off of up there, and just infinity to the upside and some support below us, but kind of hanging out in the zone. Again, would have liked to see us open somewhere around this 533.63 or higher, and that's not the case for today. We'll check the Qs. We got the Qs also gapping down a little bit. Little high wave indecision. Doji again, not loving the spot on this one. Although for the short side, I do like actually shortening the Qs more than I like shortening the SPY today. Just because we have a much better, well, not much better, but a little bit better of a risk reward to short Qs as opposed to the SPY. Targets on SPY would take us down to about 459.14. And then we got the resistance from Wednesday's candle. That would be the immediate one, somewhere around 462.35. After that, we got 463.18 to the higher side on the Qs. So see what happens on that one. TLT. See if the bomb people are loving anything. Bond people are just so miserable. Every time I look, they're just like, no, selling. But we do have TLT down a little bit, so 45 cents to the downside into a little bit of support area. We got some moving averages in here. This is also a retest gap, so let's see if any of the bonds people want to start to try to kind of at least retest this, close that little bit of a gap. Again, TLT does gap quite frequently, so doesn't have to. The first ticker I see was Albert saying crowd. So crowd got inclusion into the S&P. Good for you, CrowdStrike. Nice little gap up. About 5 minutes ago, it was about $2 higher than this, but yep, gap to all-time highs. We also had a little bit of a run up into this opening price as well. It gets tricky at these levels. Let's just flip this over to a weekly real quick. Let's go to the weekly chart. It was a pretty decent bullish week we've already had. So this is already people profitable, maybe with the assumption they might be included into the S&P. Buy the rumor, sell the news type situation. So we'll see. I don't know if we get this full on pullback. So like 349.86 would kind of retest the close of last week, but maybe at least it'll pull back to 360, somewhere into that range. But yeah, really nice open. But I mean that's a lot of buying into this. A lot of people profitable. I would probably be looking more for the fade, or at least not be bullish right out of the gate for me. And if it does open, that's at least what I'm looking for. So if it opens and just wants to go crazy, then so be it. But yep. So that's the news on crowd. At least AMD got, I think they got a downgrade and then an upgrade and then a sideways grade and a cheese grade. It's crazy. I don't know, but yeah. I think even the downgrade came in at like a 179 price target though. So even I believe the downgrade got pushed a little bit higher. Let me see. Like I said, there was a few moves on this one. Let me just see. Yeah, they didn't put the price target in here. The last one that I heard was like 179. I thought I heard one lower too, though. But nonetheless, a little bit of a downgrade to this. And NVIDIA's probably going to be under a little pressure, I would assume, today. So that's going to be a little tougher for AMD. This is also a gap and go from Friday, also taking out Thursday's candle, the low of Wednesday's candle as well. The good news for AMD, you are pulling into a little bit of support, so somewhere around 162.50. If not, you almost retested this one, not quite, but a really strong level to hold should be somewhere around 161.08 for the bull case. But my guess would be a little bit more chop. If this one opens out of the gate, I wouldn't mind trying to play this fade to a bull side. Again, it is a gap and go to the bear side. I get that. You kind of failed this resistance now for the third time, fourth time. But if we start getting down here, again, doesn't look incredibly bullish, but I think there's enough hopium where we might be able to get a good risk reward trade to the bull side on AMD. So I'll get this one up there. I probably won't touch it for the couple of opening candles, hoping that we get some kind of sell off. I don't know if we see a major dip on this one, because even if NVIDIA does start selling, AMD's already been trailing NVIDIA. It's been having a pullback a little bit sooner than NVIDIA, so maybe we could bake that into the cake as well. But if I'm gonna look for a reversal somewhere, I think AMD would be my play. But I'm gonna need a little bit more selling out of the gate on that one. D nut, is that a Krispy Kreme? Well, D nutty is nothing. D nutty is like the Looney Tune version of Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Higher lows, off the lows. Yeah, they announced this deal a while ago with McDonald's. Krispy Kreme McDonald's deal looks sweet, even if forecasts oversells. Expanding to 12,000 McDonald's locations by the end of 2026. I do think this is a good deal for Krispy Kreme. I think there's a major deal for them. Guidance for the rollout to be 80% incremental to its existing footprint generated, yada yada yada. The company should still easily hit 9 to 11% annual sales growth. I think that's actually on the lower side for what Krispy Kreme could do with the deal. Analyst upgrades Krispy Kreme to buy and hold this price to 15 from 13. And where are we sitting right now? We're sitting at 10. So that's about a 50% gain on that forecast upgrade. The one thing I hate about Krispy Kreme, and it's not the donuts because the donuts are delicious. Like, I mean, they're addicting. But the one thing I don't like on the deal is, and you have to start somewhere, so I can't be too mad at it. But that's going to be like one of their primary sources of income is McDonald's. And I hate tying like an entire business to just one outcome where McDonald's like, hey, this donut game, it's got some real value. We're going to get into it ourselves and just cut out Krispy Kreme. Or just it's not working as well as we wanted, or we're just wasting space on our shelves. So if the deal goes bad, that's not great for Krispy Kreme. I hate tying it to that, but again, it is a huge deal for them, I think. You're off major support on Krispy Kreme as well, somewhere around this $10 range. Question is it a better swing than it is a day trade? And then my other question would be, yeah, I think this is the candle when they first announced the deal. And since that point, it hasn't really done too much. We did get out of that downtrends really on Thursday. Friday was the retrace. I'm looking at resistance about $11.30, 11.69. I'll get this higher on the list. I almost, and again, I don't know what the volume's going to look like today on it. We're already in a light volume zone of a time of the year, I guess. And they don't typically have a lot. You are right at that 20 EMA. I'd almost want to see this pullback, not necessarily saying that it will. In fact, I think it probably should go a little bit more bullish today. Just on that nice little higher low breakout, kind of failed bear flag type look. But I think I might like it a little bit better for a swing. But I'll watch it. We'll see what happens at open. So, the levels, the chart, a huge long-term support. Everything looks good on it. AAPL. Apple. Be careful of this one today. We do have for the next 4 days, so today till Thursday, I think we got that conference going on. So AMD, Apple could be a little bit active. Um, I don't know when the sell the news portion of it will come in because it is a 4-day conference. So we'll have to kind of monitor that, see what the headlines coming out from Apple is. Otherwise, you don't really have much holding you back. I got one next level up here, somewhere around this 197.66. And then especially if they want to announce anything pretty decent that kind of jumps into the NVIDIA space at least a little bit, which again, if anything, I think it's going to have to do with the data centers. We'll see. But for right now at open, you do have one little resistance above you. This is technically a retest gap. So see if we get a little pullback first. But I don't think that resistance is that strong. So I think we do have the ability to break out. Let's see if we get a little pullback first on Apple. LUV. They had some kind of activist investor jump in. Activist investor Elliott discloses a 1.9 billion stake in Southwest Airlines. Activist investor. Major resistance up in this zone from back in January. I see one more level that we'd have to break through, 29.86. Otherwise, it's a really good gap up. If we can get through that first resistance, not sure if we can or not. But if we can, we're probably eyeing about $30.79. I think for today, that might be the max. And then looking forward to that gap fill. But interesting. I'd want to see maybe a pullback. The closer we could get to like 29.05, the happier I am. I don't know if I necessarily want to see this gap fill, but you got the 20 EMA on the daily right around there. I got high volume zone, so somewhere around 29.20, 29.15, $29 even. So let's see if we get a little pullback at open on this one as well. We'll get that one higher. Definitely interesting looking gap though. We got GoDaddy also being included. Yep. S&P just picked up a little GoDaddy. You're seeing a much bigger move on CrowdStrike, but this is still decent. Again, that's a strong run up. Good consolidation for the last almost month, maybe month. Good solid month of consolidation. I'm a little shocked that GoDaddy got included into the S&P, but that is quite the run breakout that GoDaddy's had. So there's already people up over 100% on this one. You are waking up to a nice little profit gap. I guess if you have GoDaddy you're following and you're like, hey, they might be included, numbers might look good. I haven't looked at GoDaddy in forever. In fact, I thought GoDaddy was getting crushed at one point. Uh, yeah, they've had a nice little bullish trend. Nothing matches that last breakout, but yep, it's another stock. It is up over 100% since October of 2023. All-time highs. Again, it's not one I've been paying attention to. I already put it kind of high on my list too, but it is a good little gap. If they give me a high wave candle, maybe I go bullish on it. It's not as it hasn't moved as much as something like CrowdStrike. I got no resistance up there, so I'd probably be holding it for a 1.2 just because I'm not as familiar with how it trades. But that is good news for GoDaddy, at least. Palantir, probably down. I haven't looked at this one today. Yeah, down. So they had some rumors floating around. They might be included to the S&P as well. And with Friday going and passing, coming and passing, they did not get included. So probably puts a little pin in a lot of people's S&P bubble, at least. As much as I like Palantir, at least for the longer term, so I'm not freaking out. I'm not selling. But I'm at this point, you have taken out some decent 2-day candles. This one on Thursday had a decent amount of volume too. You probably are trapping people that were hoping Palantir would get included. Again, they're probably a little down in the dumps. Might want to reconsider their positions. I think this one probably has a little bit more selling pressure. Look for targets into like the 2193 range on Palantir. You're holding a little bit of support here. So hopefully we get bought up short somewhere closer like this 2283. I think would be a better, at least for risk to reward. But yeah, I'd want to stay a little bit more bearish on Palantir for today at least. Let's see. We did I think Lou was with me, but we did close out our put sales, so that's pretty fantastic. I'll look to open those up if we dip a little bit further, maybe back down to the $21 range in time. We'll see. Anna says coin, COIN. How do you see copper levels? Kumar, if you want to send me what ticker you want to look at specifically, because there's copper ETFs, there's copper everything, but we could take a look at those. Just let me know what ticker you want to take a look at. We got Coinbase. Coinbase is also pulling back. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. BTC USD. I don't think it did really anything over the weekend. Yep. It's been around the 69K range for a while. These moving averages on Bitcoin still slowly creeping up, which is good. Obviously, you got a little double top, major resistance, even longer term. You can look at that as going a little bit double topish. But for right now, not an alarming level on Bitcoin. You do want to see this thing start to quickly get back above 69,290. So about $20 off. That's about a 3-minute candle on Bitcoin, maybe less. So we're not too far off on that one. And obviously Coinbase will probably play with that too. That is a bearish engulfing candle covering 2 days. So that covers Thursday and Wednesday price action. This gap down, this is a retest gap. I would look to see if we could get short somewhere around 244.98. Again, probably not swinging for the fence on this one. Maybe a 1.2. You do have support somewhere around 240.69. So I see it a little bit more choppish today. I don't see anything too crazy happening. If we start breaking, I would say 238.24. Then you get a much bigger move down to this 230.58. And that's where some red flags kind of go up for me. So right now, I think a little bit of chop. This is a retest. I think probably at open or close to open, we do bounce, and then we have to see how this almost 244.60-ish zone wants to hold. But that would be probably a better spot to look short, because anybody that did short on Friday, they're waking up with a small gain into their position. DNUT has that 17.8. Yeah, so that DNUT, I know, yeah, they have a good short float. Fundamentally, I think that deal is good for Krispy Kreme. And the gap doesn't look that bad either. So the volume gets me. I'm like, I don't know. But I do like that Krispy Kreme a little bit. I think that could be a sneaky one. Square. Gapping down. It is a retest gap, but I would say more gap and go-ish, because the Friday's candle was just an inside of this bullish breakout. There's probably some bulls starting to get trapped on this one. You got a little support coming in, somewhere right around 64.36. So it could be a little bit of support down here. Other than that, I think that eventually the 63.16 probably will get retested after that gap. So I'm looking for more of a bigger pullback. I don't know if that comes in today with that support level, but we already retested that one. So if we start to break $63, I think on Square, we're looking quite a bit lower, down to 60.26, and then maybe come into like this 58 range. But we'll see if this level of support wants to hold. Probably a little choppish. And then we still have 6 minutes till the market opens. So if we do start kind of gapping underneath, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but 64, if we start opening around 64.30, you probably see a quick drop on that one. Crowd we did look at. We'll pull it up again though. Again, there's no levels up here. I'm using more of this weekly, which the weekly is a retest gap, although that entire last week was inside of here. Closed pretty strong. There's definitely some bulls profitable on this one, and it is a big gap on it. So I don't want to go bearish on this one. I don't want to play it to the downside, but if it pulls back, I'd be okay trying to trade that one bullish. But I want to see if I can get some kind of profit taking, because we've had one heck of a run up into these numbers. And again, it kind of goes into the buy the rumor, sell the news category for me, where there's probably some people guessing, and I think there was even some rumors flying around that they could be included. So there was some people buying it for this move. The move now happened. I think we see a little pullback at least first. We got Affirm, AFRM. Chilling. Yeah. Small little gap down. Nothing too crazy. I'm thinking about that donut trade. I'm just always thinking about donuts, to be honest, but I'm thinking about Krispy Kreme. I think it might be one of those ones. If I take it, it'd have to be like a 3R attempt for the risk to reward on it. Affirm holding a little bit of support, retest to see if we can get a little bounce. Look for resistance about 29.85. Support, next level down support on this one. I'd be looking for like a 29.23, but probably a little bit more to the chop side on Affirm. Let's see. We got Santilla says C. She got Walmart and Target. Yes, Citigroup obviously had some selling pressure on Friday. We are gapping below this one. You got a little support on this one. And again, let's see just what time of day that selling came in on Friday. Most of it came after 10:45. So from 10:45 on, it was pretty much all to the downside. So there might be some bulls, some bears profitable on this gap up with a decent support, somewhere around 61.36. I'd see if you get a little bit of a retest on this one. The bigger support, the bigger resistance is about 21.77. I'm not sure if we hit that today. But I'd see if we could close this gap at 61.59. Does seem like it has a little bit more bearish edge today. Otherwise, a little bit more to the chop side too. We got Walmart. Decent gap and go. Closer to the highs of Friday than to the lows. You do also have 67.18 is going to be a good resistance. Everything about Walmart feels bullish. I'm going to put this as a bear play just on the basis of risk reward. So obviously, if we start breaking out 67.18, I think we're got a good shot of breaking the entire candle from Friday, and that would put some bullishness on Walmart. Otherwise, if you're like, man, that was a bearish engulfing candle, we covered 1, 2, 3 days of just all bulls, having a field day with this one. You had a good little move up. And if there was any bearish sentiment that came in, probably getting your stop somewhere around 67, 67. You could get some decent, good risk reward to the downside just in case. You're definitely fighting a very strong trend on this one, though. But risk to reward, I think you have better risk reward, at least to the downside. TGT. Uh, Besides that 200 sitting at 147.65, you do have a little bit of a potential double bottom with some higher lows. I think we might have sold a little bit too much for that 618, but let's see. This was a big gap down. We did fill the gap already, so we got the allure of that off the table. And then we also have pretty much where we're opening is right at that 618 as well. So you do have a little bit of resistance. If you like target in the long term, it's probably not at these levels. You're not getting a great deal, I don't think. I'd probably want this thing to come down a little bit lower. But yeah, decent attempt at least. But even Friday's gap was still a retest gap as well. So I think you still have a little bit of that selling pressure. Good news is you should have some kind of support around 144.15. Bad news is we already hit that on Friday. We did hold it. So if you're gonna make a bull case for this one, getting your stops somewhere around 141.50, 143.93 would make sense to me. But everybody out there in YouTube land, that is the opening bell. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And keep in mind, we do this every single day. We should have some news coming out, I think, for Thursday. Thursday night, we're going to have a little fun. Me, Stephen King, Johnny Gworks. Stay tuned to that. We'll probably get into that a little bit more tomorrow, but we'll see. Be safe in the markets. I'll catch you guys later.